Salute Discipoli, you should be on page 15 of your Ecce 3 book. This will get you to the second portion of the A passage for chapter 55. So chapter 55, passage A, section 2 appears on page 15 of your book. So you should be there to follow along with us. And what we're going to be looking at is a resource that's out there for you. Maybe you forget your book. Maybe you want to try a different author in the future. This is a really good place to go. The LatinLibrary.com has grown a lot since it started back when I was in college. And I just want you to know that it exists. So this is organized by author first. And if you look on page 15 at the end of our passage, it tells us the author is Eutropius. So we go to Eutropius. He only has one work that the Latin Library has, so it took us straight to the Breviarium, Historiae Romanae, a brief history of Rome. And if you see Breviarium, that's what that means. There's the title. And we need to go to, it says Roman numeral 6, and that refers to book 6. And then the chapters are along the top up here to get us to the exact spot we are in this passage. And in your book it says Roman numeral 6, dot 17, and that refers to the chapter 17. So if you go there, you will see the beginning of our passage here, and it goes down to right there. There is the passage that is on page 15 for us. Okay, so we are going to go through this. This is going to be your pre-reading information for this passage, which means I'm not going to translate it for you, and I'm not even going to take you through it with me right now. What we're going to do is go through the process of getting ready to translate, which you started looking at in your book before. So the book says you need to read through the passage first. So I have a cold, bear with me, but I am going to read through this passage. So you can follow along with me and sort of make a mental note when we go across something that you've seen before or something that's familiar. Okay? So we're going to read through this passage, and I have a cold, can't breathe through my nose, so, just keep that in mind too. Anno urbis conditae sexcentissimo nonagesimo tertio Caius Julius Caesar, qui posteo imperavit cum Lucius Bibulo consul est factus. Decreta est e Gallia et Illyricum cum legionibus decem. Is primus vicet Helvetios qui nunc sequani appellantor deinde vincendo per bella gravissima usque ad oceanum Britannicum processit. Domovit autem annis novem fere omnem Galliam, quae inter Alpes flumen Rhodanum Rhenum et Oceanum est, et circuitu patet ad bis et tricies centena milia passuum. Britannis mox bellum intulit, quibus ante eum ne nomen quidem Romanorum cognitum erat, eosque victos obsidibus acceptis stipendiarios fecit. Galliae autem tributi nomine annuum imperavit stipendium quadringenties Germanosque trans Rhenum adgressos in manissimis proeliis vincit. Okay, so we survived. We had to read through it once. Hopefully you were taking note of the things that you recognized. Now the next part is to go through the notes. No, I'm not going to sit here and read all of page 14 to you. What I'm going to do is go through and pick out the parts that don't just give you vocabulary. I want to talk about specific parts of the notes, the ones that are really weird grammar things or weird things that Eutropius did. So let's start with nonagesimo. This is actually from the last passage. I don't know why they gave this to you. It's just the 90th when you're putting together this year. Anno Urbis Conditi, remember, um, so many years from the founding of Rome. Okay, let's go to the next one. That is qui postea imperavit. This little phrase, it's not clear at all what Eutropius was referring to. It says, who later on ruled. Okay, Julius Caesar, you ruled a lot of things at a lot of different time periods. So the book gave you a note on this since it's not clear at all what Eutropius is talking about. Your book tells you that Julius Caesar took the title of dictator in 46 BC. So it's basically saying Julius Caesar, who's consul in this year, would later on become the dictator, but he wasn't specific with his Latin at all. So the book decided to give you that note. The next one is kind of goofy as well. El Bibulo. L is the abbreviation for his first name, so that's Lucius Bibulo. In the nominative, Lucius Bibulus. And the problem is, Lucius Bibulus never ruled with Gaius Julius Caesar, although it's saying that he did here. Eutropius got a little bit wrong. He mixed Lucius Bibulus up with his father, Marcus Calpurnius Bibulus. So this should really be Marcus Calpurnius Bibulus, not Lucius. The next note is just a reminder, actually. Est factus is really supposed to be factus est, and that, of course, is your two-word format, perfect, passive, he, she, or it, has been made or has become. Either one is fine. Okay, so the next note, let's go to Winkendo, right down here. This is something you haven't seen before. You haven't seen an ND in the middle of the word. This is of course, winco, wincere, wiki, victos, to win, to conquer, and it's a gerund. So it's going to have an ing on it, but in this case it's ablative. So the book gives you the translation by conquering. So then by conquering so and so. Okay, it's ablative. It's an ing. You can't do that with a participle, so they had to use the gerund to do that. Okay, the next one. This one isn't too crazy. Oceanum Britannicum. This is what the Romans called the English Channel. Okay, we have a name for it. They had a name for it. Just because they aren't the same, try not to get too confused. Okay, Oceanum Britannicum, the English Channel. And then we have a couple other bodies of water here. Flumen Rhodanum, the Rhone River, which is in the south of France. The Rhine River, Rhenum, which divides Gaul and Germany, and Gaul is France, modern day France. So just to give you an idea of what they're talking about there. And notice that they are capitalized. The editors were nice to you in doing that. So that should give you a clue as well that this is a name, not so much a word that means something. Let's go to this one. This one's tough. Circuitu Petet. I'm really glad that they gave you a note on this because, I mean, it's almost impossible to get. They want you to basically recycle this quae up here and make it quae circuitu patet. So that makes it a relative clause, and your antecedent is omnem Gallium up here. So all of Gaul, which quae circuitu patet, which had a circumference of so and so. Okay. So they're separated. I just don't want you to get confused without the quae in front, and neither did the book. The book provided that for you. Okay. Next we have the amount of miles. This is tough. So it gives us first milia passuum. This is the idea of a mile. It's not really a mile to us. It's not a unit. It's talking about thousands of paces, literally. Now let's talk about the number. This number is put together really strangely by Eutropius. He's trying to make it sound a little more drawn out, like there's a lot more than maybe there are. So we're going to take 2 of something to come later, and then 3 of something else to come later. Okay, so that means we're going to multiply something by 2 with bis and multiply it by 30. Sorry, that's 30 with trichies. So we need to figure out what we're multiplying now, and that is your next word. It's the only other word here in this number that we haven't talked about. So 2 times 100, 200. 30 times 100 is 3,000. Add those together. The et tells you to add them. So you have 3,200 miles, or 3,200 paces, thousands of paces. So it's not very specific like our mile is. Okay, let's go to the next note. I want to find it, however. Bellum infere. Oh, okay. It doesn't appear as bellum infere, but the note in the book tells you this as bellum infere. Bellum infere is the infinitive form, as if you'd find this phrase in the dictionary or something. So to engage in war, it's an idiom. This is how they would say this. And so we have bellum intulit. It needs to take something dative in order to say who's engaging in war, or who you're engaging in war with. So bellum infere, idiom plus the dative to make war with, and then your dative tells you who you're making war with. So in this case, Britannis is dative plural. So soon, since this is a he, she, her form, he made war with the Britons, or Britain. Okay. Eos, later on here, I believe this is the Eos that they are referring to. Eos in line 12 in your book. Yes, this is the Eos. And Eos is, of course, them, but they wanted to tell you who the them was. The them is referring to the Britannicos, the Britons, the British. Okay. The next part is Obsidibus Akeptus. This, let me find it. Oh, it's right after it. Okay. Obsidibus Akeptus. They put this in here because there aren't commas. Usually with this construction there are commas around it to help you figure it out, but there aren't. So the book gave you the note. Imagine commas at the beginning here before Obsidibus and then after Akeptus. This is called an ablative absolute. They're using the ablative to start a phrase. So after receiving the hostages, in other words. Okay? I am almost out of time. Galliae with imperavit. Galliae here with imperavit here. It takes the dative. So he ordered for Gaul. Okay. An annual tribute. Okay. So you could do the rest of it yourself. But he ordered it for Gaul. But I'm running out of time. So, the rest of them are actually just parts of that. Okay, so tributi, I wanted you to know this is genitive. And nominae is ablative, named, or by name, let's say by name, of a tax. By the name of a tax, or known by the name of a tax. And then annuum is your accusative. Let's think of it as a yearly or annual matter. Okay, ordered an annual matter by name of a tax for Gaul. In other words, Gaul had to pay a yearly sum of money to Rome. Now, we didn't get to read the passage again or go through the comprehension questions because it took too dang long, but I hope that you read this passage again with a new idea of some of the unfamiliar things. And I have no, other than that, I have no other direction for you other than to read the passage again and go through the comprehension questions before you give this a try. Good luck, Stra out.